Welcome to the Aging Answers podcast. I'm Rob Faubion with Age of Central Texas. We are a local nonprofit organization that tackles the challenges of aging with expert solutions. Today, our expert once again is KC Lawrence. And KC, I want to talk today about a caregiver scenario that we've had folks have emailed us and asked us about. So let's just say that my mom lives with me in my home, and every Saturday afternoon is my day to go and jog. So at 1 o'clock I go get in the car and I'm going to go jog for an hour and a half. And mom stays home and she watches the afternoon Saturday movie. But I've started to notice when I come home now, things seem to be in a little bit of disarray. At what point should I as a caregiver know that it might not be a good idea to leave mom by herself anymore?
It's a great question, Rob. This can be such a scary time for caregivers because you see these changes happening and you're not really sure what to do.
Right.
I think an important thing to keep in mind is that when a person has dementia, it is a disease that affects thinking globally in the brain. So people usually think just of memory loss, but actually dementia can affect problem solving, logic, ability to focus and pay attention, language skills, so much more than just memory. And it can especially affect the ability to make good and safe decisions. So it's really important to talk this concern over with a healthcare professional and also to evaluate it periodically as the person's life goes on, as the disease changes. In most people, the time where it's no longer safe to live home alone is when they're living in the middle or moderate stage of dementia.
Okay, so let's say that mom is approaching that point, or there has possibly been an issue with her health that may have triggered some changes. What are some of the things that I should be watching out for as a caregiver?
Yeah, so the things that you're looking for really fall into four major categories. How is her emotional state? How does she handle emergencies? Also, does she have a history of wandering? And then finally, how aware is she of safety? So in terms of the emotional state, we're looking at when you return home and greet your mom, what are her emotions like? Does she seem really anxious? Does she seem really agitated? Or does she seem calm?
Okay.
In the case of an emergency, is she able to recognize a dangerous situation? One thing that's really great to do, it would be to do a fire drill. So ask your mom to show you how would you handle a fire, because sometimes people can say, well, I would do X, Y, and Z, but in an emergency, they can become more confused or more anxious, and so may not actually be able to do the things that need to be done. A history of wandering. So is this somebody who has gotten lost before? Have they left the house in the middle of the night? Have they wandered and gotten disoriented?
Even
all warning signs.
Even walking down to the mailbox and then not really being sure where they are, or get turned around easily.
Yes, or going for a daily 30-minute walk. Some days that 30-minute walk is an hour because they got turned around. Right. That'd be a warning sign, definitely. And then safety awareness is another thing. So maybe mom always used to bake cookies in the afternoon, and she hasn't done that for a while, and then she decides to bake cookies, and you come home and the oven has been left on at 500 degrees with nothing in it for hours, right? That could be a big warning sign.
You find that empty pot on the stove with the stove turned on.
Right, that's a big warning sign. What happens when the doorbell rings? Does mom open the door to strangers and invite them in for tea when it's somebody who's just there, maybe to sell a magazine or something like that? Have they fallen often? Right, that's another thing that's very scary for older adults and their caregivers. If they're falling a lot, then it may not be safe to leave them home.
We know that falls are the number one cause of death and injury of older adults. So if there is even any inkling of a fall risk, that's something that we need to be very concerned about.
Absolutely. Also, are they using things in the wrong way at home? So, for example, are they using household cleaners in the wrong way? Do they go to the medicine cabinet, to take Tums, and they're taking a completely different medication, or taking too much medication.
Right.
That's another sign they cannot be safe to be home by themselves.
Okay. So we just need to, as caregivers, be alert to what's going on with our loved one and use our common sense of if something doesn't seem right, then that might be a good warning sign that we need to reevaluate whether it's safe to leave our loved one by themselves. Because we always say that caregiving, as with dementia, it's a journey. And so things are going to change as we go. And so we just need to be aware of that.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Casey. Thank you for joining us for this podcast. If you have a question you'd like one of our caregivers and our experts to answer, just send us an email. Our information is listed below, along with our website where we have a lot more information for you online. And don't forget, we have many more podcasts to answer your aging answers.